Hi everyone, and welcome to the third edition of Moha Save Our Skin campaign. In the first week, we had a nice chat with Sejal Jain at Glam Protocol on hair concerns, and then in the second week, we had a really good discussion on pigmentation concerns, and today is the third edition, and today we plan to discuss in deep depth and detail on acne concerns. Everything to do with acne. It could be to do with blackheads, whiteheads, open pores. Yeah, hi Sejal, hi everybody. Sejal is, I think, going to join us soon. And yes, very quickly. And Sejal and I are going to discuss on blackheads, on whiteheads, on open pores, on scars, on acne. Why does it happen? How can we prevent it? The most important thing is how can we prevent acne? And if we have it, how can we quickly correct it so we don't end up with any scars? It's really important not to end up with scars. And so there's so much to discuss today, and I'm really waiting for her to join us. Till then, let me tell you that there are newer trends in acne. You could have even from puberty right up to your adult years. So, what's a new trend? We find that a lot of adults can also get acne. Hey, Sonali, hi, how are you? Hi to everybody who's already logged in. Thank you for enjoying the chat. And you know, the way acne behaves today is that it seems to be spanning from adolescence, puberty, from the time of puberty right up to the adult years. Men can also get it, women, of course, get it. And what is common to all generations is the diet. There she is.
Hello, hello. I don't know, I was getting a difficult to get join in. I sent the request. No worries.
No
How are you,
problem. You're with
doctor?
us. I'm
Hello.
good. And how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're looking pretty in pink today. You're looking pretty in pink.
Thank you so much. And you look
Yeah.
pretty always.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I'm going to be enjoying this third edition of the the chat today on on acne.
Yes, it is the most awaited topic for me, like because I'm myself a big time patient of acne, I would say. So,
Really?
yeah, I mean, I started getting it off lately, like because of the makeup and being sensitive skin. Like when I used to just practice, I had nothing at all. But I think because of using a lot of products, I started breaking out, and we will discuss at length about this, my issues and our viewers' issues. I got some DMs on the last story also, what kind of problems people are going through. I think you will be helping us out, right, in breaking up with our breakouts.
Of course. In fact, you must, because you said so, I must share with you that I also had acne. And it started when I was around as a teenager. And, so I really can understand what my patients go through. And then I ended up with some scars. So I also understand how important it is to get rid of scars and prevent them, most importantly.
Yes.
So I'm ready to share everything that I know.
All right. So, Joe, the people who have newly joined in or don't know about this entire series, I'll just explain in a gist before we start moving on to our questions. So, guys, Moha Save Our Skin or SOS is a series of live Instagram session where we are going to invite industry's eminent expert in the field of dermatology, cosmetology, Ayurveda, and yoga to provide holistic care towards our skin and hair. These sessions are conducted every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 4:30 p.m. We are at week 3, and these sessions are initiated by country's Ayurveda expert Charak Pharma. So today the topic is the hot spot topic, I would say, which is acne, scars, related skin issues, and how do we deal with them. So we have our favorite Dr. Kohli, and she'll be helping us to break up with breakouts. That's how I tagged it today.
I love that. Let's get rid of those hot spots.
Yes. So let's get started. And my first question would be, what exactly is pimple, acne? How do you differentiate? Let's start with the etiology and what meaning it is, what exactly it is. Yeah.
Sure. So, actually, pimples is what normal people say, and acne is what we as specialists, dermatologists, would call it. So, really, pimples and acne are the same thing. But most people think that acne is a severe, worse form of pimples. But that's not true. It's just a different term. Acne is actually a
Oh.
technical term, pimples is a common term. However, I think when people talk about pimples, they usually mean blackheads, whiteheads. They usually mean those little unwanted pustules and red color bumps on the skin and pustules coming on unwanted days and unwanted times, like before an
Yeah.
event or, before your own wedding, or in general, you don't want them, right? And nowadays, with this whole year has been about virtual, and, the whole world has become so virtual that if you're chatting with me, you really, because it's so close and upfront, you really get conscious even about that one zip because it shows.
Yes, I had to literally cancel some of the shoots when I had a close-up shot because of initially when I was not taking care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it's like popping out when you're close. Yeah.
You can't hide it, come what may. You can hide a
Yes.
mark, but you can't hide a bump. So,
Bumps.
yeah, so that's why. So really, acne. People think acne means that really bad acne with a lot of big bumps and painful bumps and things like that. So really, for us, acne is what you call pimples, but we have grades of acne. We have grade 1, where you have more of blackheads and whiteheads. Then you have
Mm-hmm.
grade 2, where with blackheads and whiteheads you get the tiny little red and what we call papules and little pustules. And then
Mm-hmm.
grade 3 is when there's lots of them and your face is really covered with it. And then grade 4, and in grade 3 you can sometimes get those big painful ones. And then in grade 4 you have layers and layers of blackheads and whiteheads and thicker big ones, and they're very stubborn. And sometimes in grade 3 and 4 your chest, shoulders and back may also be involved. Even in grade 1 acne with blackheads and whiteheads, you can get some involvement of chest, shoulders, back. And this is more seen in pubertal acne. So there are patterns of acne. So the pattern is one at puberty, where you get, you get it typically in the T zone, over here, and a bit on the chin, and then you get it on the chest, shoulders, and back. So that is typically at puberty, because suddenly you shoot up, your hormones are changing. It's natural for these areas to get involved. But severe acne, like grade 3 and 4, can also affect the back, the shoulders, the chest. And that means the acne is more stubborn and more severe.
Okay. So talking about puberty, this is how the pattern is. But I just read some question, that I'm 30 and getting a lot of acne suddenly since 2 years. Never had them before. What could
Yeah.
be a reason here?
Yeah. So if you're getting acne at 38, we call it adult acne. That's acne coming up anytime after the age of 25 or 28. You may have had acne in the past, you may not have had it in the past, but you're getting it after the age of 25, 28. So in a woman, the typical cause would be hormonal. In a man, the typical cause will not be so much hormonal as much as metabolic, something to do with the metabolism, which could be either stress, eating patterns, pumping up too much protein, or maybe eating too much of sugar and carbs, especially at night, even for
Oh.
women. So, for adult acne, the commonest cause is, apart from lifestyle, hormonal.
So it's not a myth. I'm just catching up the word. Eating a lot of sugar at night can result in acne. It is true. It is fact.
Via affecting the insulin pathway and via affecting your metabolism.
Indirectly.
So it's not like
Yeah.
sugar and zit. It's what it does inside your body, which
Shows
sets
up.
off an acne pathway.
Yeah.
So, we have now the latest concept of inflammation.
Hmm.
Inflammation means where there is redness, swelling, and also it's in the deeper, in the layers of the skin where the oil gland is. The oil gland and hair follicular unit called the sebaceous gland. This is where it all starts. And inflammation is triggered off by certain factors. And once
Yeah.
it triggers off the oil gland, you break out. So the first sign of acne, like in the 38-year-old, or even in a young person, in a teenager. So in a teenager, the first sign of acne would classically be here. Yeah. But when you start getting acne more here along the jawline, yeah, or here, or also some over here, you may be looking at a hormonal change, right? So you get that fine grainy feel, dana dana like grainy feel, and that is could be the beginning of
Okay.
hormonal acne as well, especially in the teen years like 15, 16, 14, or in somebody who's 25, 28, 30, 32. That's one sign
Okay.
of hormonal acne.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So we have something like which is for a teenager and something for adults, like which is, very common nowadays, I feel, because I
That
see a
happens
lot of
because of
people,
it.
telling me also on my comments in the post and all that, okay, what is happening and all that.
And then, of
And
course, there is genetics. I mean, you could be
huh,
prone to getting acne, right?
yeah.
And that could be if you have one parent who has it, you have a 50% chance. If you have the second, both parents have it, you have
Okay.
almost 100% chance. And scarring is also genetic. You know, some people have the worst acne, but when you treat it, their skin clears up beautifully. And I'm sure we'll cover scars later. And some people have very little acne, but it just immediately causes a pit or a brown mark very easily. So these are
Yeah.
different skin types and how your body's you. That's you.
I do get like I just get one or two like occasionally, especially when there is a next day shoot. I get it 2 days prior or a day prior. Maybe I don't sleep well. I stress it out, so that's the reason. Because I did my hormone test, I was advised, but it was all normal. But this is the thing: one, the skin is sensitive, and second, the stress what I take, just prior to something like that. That does give me like a pustule or papules, like the
Yeah.
grade 2 top. What you said? Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what I get. Yeah, once a
So
week.
then you brought up a very important point about sensitive skin.
Yes,
Mhm.
which I have it, and it is because all these years I was not actually having any makeup, anything. I was not taking care also because I was very blessed. I would say my genes and everything was very good. But the moment I started doing extra on my skin, it started. We are not used to it. We are going to react. That kind of thing. Then that's when I started taking care of it, being mindful about what products I'm using. So coming to the products, what products we should
Right.
use?
Yeah, I think you brought up two very important points. One is the impact of lifestyle. And so we think that, oh, if I'm
Yes.
using the best products and, I'm really investing in good skincare, then how am I breaking out? Well, like you said, for a sensitive skin, you got to sometimes products don't suit you, even if they're the best.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't need to go for the fancy. Is of course the impact of skin type. So, obviously oily skin is more prone to acne, but you can even get dry skin, and sensitive skin, which can also break out because there is something called the barrier. So you have the skin has a barrier, and this barrier fights off bacteria, it hydrates the skin, prevents excessive oiliness, and that barrier, if it's not so good, can also make you prone
Mm-hmm.
to acne from environment, from makeup, from products, and from also it can make you break out also from dehydration. So you can also have acne due to this barrier, what we call dysfunction. So, you know, that means that should acne prone skin be moisturized? Yes, of course. We feel if my skin is so oily, why should I moisturize it?
Yeah.
But you do, because you've got to hydrate it so that you don't allow extra oil to be produced to compensate for the lack of hydration.
Inside. Yeah.
So, you asked about products. Tell me, what would you like
So,
to know?
like what you mentioned about the hydration part, also, I think there are different types of moisturizers. Some are oil based, some are gel based. So, in these cases, should we go opt for gel based moisturizer or gels maybe for hydration?
Yes, you're absolutely right. We should be going in for a gel based. We could also go in, a gel based one can basically water based, and it can have hyaluronic acid. It can have aloe vera. It can have, it can even have there are a lot of these skin repair gels. There are a lot of the aloe vera gels. So they have aloe vera, they have cucumber. You can have glycerine. You can have all these gentle, hydrating, light gels, not very sticky. Remember, it shouldn't be sticky. It should be light. It should just get absorbed. It should form a film. How do you know it's sticky? If you touch and you do this and it's feeling a little
Mm-hmm.
sticky, you know that that's too sticky for you. Then the next
Yeah.
generation of products are emulsions. We call them emulsions. These are water-based moisturizers, which are very watery. So they are not clear. They have a little whitish tinge, but they're watery. So when you apply them, they feel watery to your fingertips and easily get absorbed. Then you can also use oil-free moisturizers, which have they're what we call oil and water. The base is water, and they have very light, creamy or light oil base, but they are very, very light. So, but somebody may have, like now, it's winter. You do need a moisturizer, right? So you could use a oil control, oil free. So you're using a moisturizer, but it doesn't add to your own natural grease. Oil control moisturizers are great because they have dimethicone, they have zinc, they have so many other products which can help to control the grease production. They may even have a little glycolic or salicylic acid or lactic acid. So they control oil production. So they're working as you apply it. It's also working on the skin and the acne.
Okay. Yeah, I did see a video wherein you were talking about what acids you should move to or what gel-based things you should move to when you have acne in teenage or as an adult. So yeah, I did have a look at that, and that actually made a lot of sense because everyone cannot have a similar, kind of protocol for their own problems. So yeah,
You're absolutely right. One needs to customize. If you so here's something I'd like to say, that if you have acne that's not too severe, which you can manage with skincare products, it's fine. But if you have acne which is getting worse, if you have acne which is beginning to scar, if your acne is going on for more than a couple of months and you're not able to sort it out, then you should take an expert opinion. You should see a dermatologist, because it's the dermatologist who can pick up other signs. They can try and pick up other signs for you and guide you, and also help you to understand your skin's acne needs and your skin's acne skincare needs. Both. You need both. You need to treat the acne and you need to treat the skincare part. So earlier, 10, 15, 20 years ago, treating acne was all about putting the acne products, benzoyl peroxide, clindamycin, whatever it was, that for acne. Now what we do is we like to do a customized bespoke skincare plan with good products which help the skin in oil control, bacteria control, keep the skin free of clogging up, and then we also give the acne products. So that obviously needs an expert opinion.
Yeah, and it is always important, guys, and I do believe in it, to find the correct cause of a problem, then only you can treat a problem. So the right person will always tell you what is the actual cause of it. So that's when you have to be true.
Okay.
All right.
So I think maybe, am I having some net issues? Can you see me clearly?
No, you have a bit of distorted. I cannot see you extremely clearly. Yeah, I do have a little bit of disturbance. Yeah, better than before. And are you able to see me? Because someone just said, Sejal, your camera also got blurred. I'm okay. Am I visible?
Yeah, about 2-3 minutes ago you got blurred, but now you're fine. What about me?
Yeah, perfect. Right now, perfect.
Super. Okay.
Awesome. So let's take a few questions. There are quite a bit of questions coming in. Shall we? Yeah. How can one have clear skin? Please suggest some basics and things one need to be careful about. Yeah, that's a very good question, actually.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is choosing the right face wash. Yeah. So if you have a really oily skin, then it doesn't depend only on age. It depends on how oily your skin is. So that means if you wash your face and in half an hour, 1 hour you feel oily again, then maybe and you already have blackheads and whiteheads, then maybe salicylic acid is a good choice. If you want something to, you have a lot of blackheads and whiteheads, but you're not that oily, then glycolic acid face washes are nice. If you have sensitive skin, then lactic and lactobionic acid face washes are better because they don't strip the skin of its natural grease. However, some of us just can't tolerate any of this, then you can use a pH balanced soap-free cleanser, which you can just lightly apply. It doesn't lather, but when you lightly apply and wash it off, either with a cotton pad or just wash it off gently, it cleanses your skin but doesn't dehydrate it, doesn't irritate it. So these would be the 4 types of skin cleansers.
Yeah, recently I switched to this Moha herbal face wash. This one is working so far so good for me. Like I used to have more number of times and I feel so fresh. It's very gentle and it's very natural. So there are no side effects. That's what I'm worried about because my skin is very sensitive. So yeah, this
Right.
kept on going for me with the combination of aloe vera gel. These two products are, I think, those who are asking is which gel to be used. I think aloe vera gel by Moha was really boon for me when I was introduced to it.
Yeah, it's a lovely gel. It's very soothing and hydrating. And yeah, you brought up a very good point that after you wash your face, how do you know the face wash is suiting you? After you wash your face, you should not feel the stretch. You should not feel
Okay.
tight. So one reason could be if you're using very hot water in a shower. One reason could be that you're scrubbing too hard. So I always tell my patients, push your hair back, splash your face with water, take the face wash, lightly apply it, okay, and then rinse it off and pat dry. That's the way to use a cleanser or a face wash. Then you will not get any added stretch or tightness. If after you do it this gentle way, still you use a face wash and get the tightness or a stretch, that means this face wash is too harsh for you or too strong for you. So you can move to another generation of face washes. This is a small tip I'd like to share. So how should one use a moisturizer? Especially when you have acne and you've got so many of these, since you don't know whether you should touch them, you don't want to break them, you don't want to have scars. So I like to take about a fingertip amount. I tell my patients take a fingertip amount, dot it, and dab it all over like this, and blend it in lightly with your fingertips. And then just let it put it all the way to the sides, and just let it get absorbed. Don't try to rub it in.
Yeah. That's something which really a lot of people do, and I have corrected them. Don't be harsh to your skin, be gentle.
True, very true. That is definitely a good tip. And then comes, of course, the next product is that people wonder, if I use a sunscreen, it will make my skin oily and I'll look shiny. So how can I use a sunscreen when I have acne, right? That's another question. So a good sunscreen lotion for acne-prone skin is one which is matte, one which has got dimethicone, one which has got a very more physical base with zinc and titanium dioxide. These sort of go better with, because they're more matte, and they are zinc. Zinc also is very good for acne-prone skin, so it doesn't clog your pores. Because, and you don't want, and sometimes the chemical base of a sunscreen irritates your skin, especially if it is already inflamed with the acne, red and angry, or if you have sensitive skin. So it's better to go for the more physical based sunscreens, which are matte. And the way to apply sunscreen is, again, fingertip amount, start over here, apply it all over, blend it in with your fingertips and smoothen it in. So, and leave it. Let the sunscreen get absorbed. Never rub a product. What happens? You're massaging the skin. The skin will start feeling warm, it will feel sweaty and then get shiny. That's also one of the reasons why people don't like sunscreen, because they're not using it correctly. So sunscreen usage, even in acne prone skin, especially those who have the black marks left behind by acne, very, very important.
Alright, that's a beautiful tip. So talking about sunscreen, the next thing what we talk about is the scrub. I think that is also another, a lot of controversial topic, whether you should be using a scrub, how often you should be using a scrub. If you have acne, can it cause any damage further because you're opening your pores again? So please draw some light on that.
Sure. So first of all, the base of the scrub should be really mild. It shouldn't be a strong base and should not have coarse granules,
Yeah, the granules.
So that it's soft, which is a scrub you like. You like something which is, because you got sensitive skin, so I'm asking you.
I like very gentle, very mild granulated scrub. If there is something, it has to be like gel based or something which is not very like oily, which some scrubs
Yeah.
do leave it little shiny. I don't like that, so I generally
Or
prefer something
powdery
which
also.
is,
Too powdery.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. So my suggestion would be if you have active acne, you have active acne, then you should not be scrubbing over active acne. Naturally, it's obvious. You're going to break
Yeah.
the acne and you're going to worsen the acne and the inflammation, spread the infection. There's already bacteria on your skin. And actually, over vigorous scrubbing can make you clog more because you're disturbing the skin cell turnover. So
Yeah.
even if you don't have acne today, you're prone to acne, but your skin is clear, you should scrub really lightly so that you don't disturb the cell turnover. And like I said, this is the light action of using a scrub is very important. So you lightly use the scrub, you don't rub it. So suppose I have acne and I want to use the scrub, you can just use it on your nose over here, your chin if there's no acne there. So this is where you typically get blackheads, and don't scrub the acne.
Open
If
pores,
you
yeah.
have acne all over, you cannot use a scrub. Acne prone skin, I would not recommend a scrub more than twice a week and gently so that you don't disturb the skin or you don't break it and invite bacteria and then you get acne again.
Again.
And if you have open pores and blackheads and whiteheads, again, twice a week is more than enough, exactly like how I described. And then if you don't have active acne, you can scrub all over.
All right, that is good enough.
And you can do a little DIY home thing, like what I tell my patients is that if somebody who just wants to do it at home, is that lightly use your own cleanser. Then you can take a steamer. You get these steamers which are with a little spout, just this much spout. So I tell them you boil the water in the steamer, the little one, and then you cover your entire face well with a towel, right? So you're not going to get extra steam. And just take a light steam, very light steam from that gentle, not that cold steamer, just that little spout. And then lightly take a steam just for 2 or 3 minutes. Then splash cold water. Then lightly scrub. And then you can apply a sheet mask or a face pack or a peel off mask, depending on what you're trying to do. If your peel off mask is good for dead layers and for brightening the skin, and the charcoal based mask also for the sheet mask and the peel off masks are good for purifying the skin from bacteria. And then of course you can even apply a proper mask which can like a soft clay mask which can with a lot of good things in it, like orange and papaya and so many other things that you make at home, sandalwood. So too, you can leave it on like a mud pack and then gently remove it off. So these are the DIY things you can do. But I think nobody likes to make packs at home. I think everybody just likes to have one of the sheet masks or the peel-offs or the charcoal.
Quickest and easiest.
Yeah, quick and easy. Just dispose it off. That's how we are all now.
Yeah, that's true. Please suggest some cream for my pimple-prone skin. Okay, but would you like to take that question? Like, because I think we need to know what is exactly the pimple is like. But still, in general, if you can just guide us.
Yeah, I think what they want to know is that if I have acne-prone skin, then what sort of cream should I be using? And so, like you said, and we discussed, it should be gel-based, it should be an emulsion, and these things are written. These things are written on the product: gel-based, emulsion, and another thing. It's always safer to use a product that says non-comedogenic, non-acnegenic. Okay, so that means it is the base of the product is non-acne producing, non-blackhead whitehead producing. And if you have sensitive skin, then you may opt to go for a product which is paraben free and perfume free. So this is how you can identify. Or if a product says oil control or it says acne prone skin, then you know that these are the products that you're looking at treating have been designed for acne prone skin.
Okay.
Even sunscreens will say non-comedogenic, non-acnegenic. So that's the kind of sunscreen I just described earlier in our chat.
Yes, that's true. So someone just asked, how often do you need to use, or you should be using face wash on a daily basis? So yeah, that also is a good question. I think you
I
mentioned
agree.
also that whenever you feel oily, but just in general, how do you address that?
So twice a day is a must when you get up in the morning, because you put some product or the other at night. You got to wash it off gently, and then you have to definitely cleanse at night. Now, I have changed that a bit. I tell my patients, because a lot of people work at night and then get tired and fall off to sleep and can't follow a plan, but they need a plan. So I tell my patients, cleanse every evening when your day is done. That means you've come back from work, or you finished all your online work, or you've traveled and come back home, or you've had your shower, you've exercised and had your shower. Just put it on at that time. So that even if you go to bed 2-3 hours later and you forget, you already have it on, provided you don't have to go out. No, anyway, we're not really going out. So, you can just put it at night and continue to do whatever you have to do and then fall off to sleep. It's okay. But if you have to go out, or you have to once again, after you cleanse your face, put makeup for an event or whatever, sometimes you have these Zoom chats, whatever, then you can apply whatever product you want, your makeup, and then you'll have to cleanse once again. So if you finished your day and you want to apply makeup, you must cleanse your face and then apply your makeup or product. Otherwise, you'll start clogging your pores.
Okay.
And then you'll have to once again cleanse, and so that's the time you'll wash your face 3 times. The minimum is twice, but you could wash it 3 times. Now, a lot of people with oily skin like to wash their face 4 times a day. They feel clean, they feel good, or they just want to keep splashing water. I must tell you, Sejal, that actually is dehydrating for the skin. Now, if that's dehydrating for the skin, what does it mean? It means that if it's dehydrating for the skin, you will end up producing more oil to compensate for the dryness, and then you feel oilier and oilier. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
So,
body is smart and it
my
tries to
suggestion,
help a process. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
saying body is smart. If you have less water intake, if you think you are taking less intake, obviously body will start, getting it out in some other way. Similarly, oil also, they will try to gather all the glands and try to. So you have to compensate, like you were saying, yeah, from externally as well.
Exactly. So you've got to realize that washing about 3 times a day is good enough. But that's the beauty of having the right face wash, right? If you have the right face wash, we don't need to wash your face that often, because it's done its job and the effect is going to last about 4-5 hours, and that's why 3 times a day is more than enough.
Okay, that's nice.
And I also feel nowadays that because of the environment change and because of all the time constantly being an aircon and AC, I feel that I tell all my acne prone patients and acne patients that if you are going to wash your face, use your moisturizer. You need to rehydrate. You need to protect. It's a different world now. Earlier people used to wash their face with soap and that was it. Remember the good old days and back in those
Yeah.
days. But now we tell everybody, cleanse your face and moisturize, but with the right product. Then you will not break out. In fact, you're protecting your skin.
Yeah. And in right amount also, like you mentioned how much, otherwise it can also have the other way around. Yes.
Right.
All right, moving on to scars. I remember, having seeing people with red color scar, brown color scar. There are different types of scars, and I'm sure the treatment would be different, and the reasons of having them would be different. So I can see a lot of people asking about acne scars and other scars. So would you like to tell something about that now?
Sure. Actually, scarring is very much a part of getting acne. It's always something that can happen. So that's why when you start getting acne, like I was trying to explain, don't try to go on treating it yourself, or trying to find fixes and solutions, whichever way you're trying to do it. Seek the help of a dermatologist who can guide you both about the skincare and the acne and treat it effectively so you don't scar. But if you do have a few red brown scars from either your skin type being sensitive or the acne was a little deeper, and so therefore you ended up having a bit of red scars, or initially you were a little harsh, people get very anxious, they start picking, they start rubbing too hard, like we said, they may rub too hard with their scrub. Then what happens is that you may end up with brown scars. Okay?
Okay.
So anybody who has brown scars has either picked on their acne or tried to treat it too much, too many applications, keep spot applying things, thick layers, or had applied makeup to conceal and then rubbed off the makeup. So brown scars are usually, usually because of all this, but some people get brown scars because of their skin type also. They just tend to get brown scars. And red scars are basically because of the acne itself usually, and you have different shades of red depending on how bad the acne was on your skin type. And then, of course, at the end of the whole thing, spectrum, are those pitted scars and those depressions or thick scars. And that is when you have the deeper cystic, nodulocystic acne, those big, painful ones. That's when you end up having deeper scars, or in the same place you get acne again and again and again and again, right? Every episode of acne is going to lead to a tendency to scar.
Okay.
And then, of course, genetics. So, if you're prone to scarring, suppose you already have a scar on your body from an accident or a stitch that had to be taken, or you fell and got a bad scar, you know that you're prone to scarring. That to you, if you start getting acne, means you should treat your acne early. And one of the best agents to prevent you from scarring is to use the generation of acne treatment molecule called retinoids topically. Okay? So if you use a retinoid topically, you can start preventing a scar. But if you have a red scar, then you can use things with, there are gels and there are creams which come for treating red scars. There are
retinoid or something, yeah.
Tretinoin is for also red scars, you're right. You can treat glycolic acid, azelaic acid are like for brown scars. Brown scars do well with glycolic and azelaic acid. And then, of course, we have treatment. We have layers, we have lights, we have peels. For the deeper scars, we treat them with microneedling RF, with subcision, something called subcision. So there are a lot of ways, and of course, there's the lasers like carbon dioxide lasers. There's a lot you can do for deeper scars. So even if somebody has deeper scars, we can help you. But we may not be able to get rid of the deeper scars 100%, but we can really bring them down and make your skin look a lot better. It will take some time. It takes 6 to 9 months to treat deeper scars. Red and brown scars, you can even treat within about 3 months or so.
Yeah.
You can electrolyte in them.
Yeah, the more you keep it with you, it will take longer to sort. It's simple. So early intervention is most important, I would say, to get rid of it. Right.
Well said. Crucial.
Thank you. There is another question. Thank you guys for helping us. I get a lot of acne on my back. Okay, you mentioned about that, or grade 4, grade 3, if I'm not mistaken. Especially after waxing or shaving. Please suggest how to deal with this. Skin is, like me, very sensitive.
Okay, so now there's that new term, right? Backne.
Oh.
Maskne or backne.
Okay.
It has become a very popular word on, Instagram.
Is this a so popular problem? It's so common?
Yeah, back acne is quite common, especially in those who have a genetic tendency or who sweat a lot, play a lot of games, who sweat a lot, who take very hot showers. Hormonal issues can also, when you have a hormonal issue, you can get bad back acne. Girls and boys both can get bad back acne. And in grade 4, you can get acne, you can get bad back acne. So yes, you can get acne on the back. Now, acne on the back is a little different. It's more stubborn. It leaves behind both red and brown marks, can even leave behind some deeper scars. And one of the few things that I like to use when I have patients of bad back acne is I like them to use a good product in the shower, either a salicylic acid wash or a benzoyl peroxide wash, or a good, cleansing agent, even a good body wash which has a little bit of exfoliating action. Those help. And then I tell my patients not to have showers, very hot showers on their back, not to rub it hard. You know, when you finish your shower, you rub your back hard. Avoid that. I tell them to be careful about steam and sauna because that can worsen. Of course, there are a lot of lifestyle issues which I think we're going to discuss, right? About lifestyle
Yeah.
issues, we'll bring that up later. And then, of course, is treating the acne as acne. And there are lovely new products now that come out as sprays, you know, so you can spray it easily on your back and it can treat your acne and treat the scars. And these have a lot of nice agents like salicylic or glycolic acid, azelaic acid, kojic acid. There are clindamycin sprays for acne, which for the active acne. And sometimes after waxing, what we call acne is not really acne. It is more what we call folliculitis. It's more due to the pull and the heat of the wax. And that comes up about 7-10 days after you wax. So people forget that they waxed and then suddenly they see the back has got acne. Or just before a function they wax and then suddenly 2-3 days later, you know, they have to cover it up with makeup. So that is also one issue, and that needs more of an antibiotic and soothing agents to calm down and can leave behind marks. Peels help a lot for back acne. Peels really help for back acne. Yeah.
Wasn't aware about all this. That is back may is something new for me.
Yeah.
All righty.
Always happy to learn and share.
True. So, I think we are covering most of the things, but yeah, I just recollected one important thing. There are a lot of myths, or I don't know if it's fact, you know, how much, like you mentioned in the beginning of the live, sugar. There are a lot of other things also which people say, "Arey, you eat a lot of heat, kind of like garlic has a lot of heat in your body, creates a lot of heat. You may end up in acne, or sometimes milk products. Some people are may get acne because of that. So, what exactly is the truth behind all of this, and actually, what diet changes one should follow if they have acne? Changes one should follow, yeah.
Sure, sure. Yes, diet has come into a lot of focus of late.
Yeah.
I think for 2-3 reasons. One is, of course, the impact of the diet change that, you know, our Indian diets are now become more westernized. So we have more of refined processed sugar, more of saturated fats, that's fried food, and we tend to have more of processed refined food. So this is one trend which has changed from the traditional Indian home cooked meal of dal, sabzi, roti, maybe some chicken or fish. Whatever was freshly cooked, there were always a legume or a lentil, and you know the balance of protein,
Protein dish.
carbohydrate, and fat was always there in our diet. Now the diets have become into starchy carbs, into fried, which is all monosat. I mean, too much of saturated fat. Monosaturated fats are fine, but the other polysaturated fats, which are commercial cooking, So whenever you do your takeaways, you'll say, oh, I've done this healthy takeaway, but that salad has a dressing, and there's obviously it's yummy because the dressing has some sugar in it or something which is a taste enhancer. So these are the things that have now led us to realize that these do influence your metabolism through certain pathways, and they also spark off some those are prone to hormonal problems. It sparks off a reaction in your body to then trigger off the inflammatory pathway, the oil glands, and then you break up. Now, the thing is that doesn't mean you can't eat. Of course, you're going to eat, and of course, you want to have all that yummy food.
I'm like, every night I want something sweet. Like, I want chocolate. And I was like, shit.
No.
Every night. I was like, my dessert. I need anything is fine. I don't like sweets a lot, but something has to be, chocolate has to end my day. It has to be on a sweet note. I need to lesson. I've already worked on it, but yes. Now, when you're saying all this, I'm like continuously hogging behind my mind is like, okay, I had yesterday this, day before that. All this is result of it. Yeah.
So actually, you can have 2 pieces of dark chocolate. It's okay.
Okay.
You can't do it. Yeah, you're allowed that.
All right.
But I would prefer it if you finished your chocolate before 7 o'clock.
Okay. That also makes me, try to plan to sleep early then.
No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. So at 7 o'clock, if you add a nice protein-based snack, it'll help you because all of us are trying to have lighter dinners. So it'll help you to have a protein-based snack with just a little, with a lighter dinner with some carb, which is a healthier carb, not a starchy carb, and you'll find that actually you will hardly feel the need to eat sugar then at night. It's just addictive. It's just something that we grew used to enjoy. So that's one thing. But I must tell you about dairy. So there's a lot of now talk on dairy causing acne. So there are So there are reports about skim milk not being very good because it's very processed. But actually, it's not that dairy causes acne for everybody. If you're truly lactose intolerant, or you have a very sensitive gut, and milk doesn't suit you, you do get lactose-free milk, you do get almond milk. These are other options. But yes, for some people, highly organic milk, which is like high in iodine, as well as skim milk, these are things that can actually, in some people, it's not a rule, it's not addictive. For some people, it can cause acne flare-ups. And how do you know? Because your stomach often won't be so great. So remember one thing, people who are prone to food making them break out also usually have a sensitive stomach. They usually end up that same food, like say if you have too much of chili and garlic, you'll get a lot of acidity and then you can break out. And a lot of people confuse rosacea with acne.
Okay.
So rosacea is where you get, inflammation in your cheeks, and it also gets papules and pustules like we discussed. And then you may end up thinking that's acne, but rosacea definitely has a dietary component with chili and garlic and all that. Spicy, red wine, hot cha, so many things like that, and a sensitive gut. But acne is not rosacea. Acne is different, rosacea is different, and some of us also may have a gluten sensitivity, but these are not the rule. These are individual. And but yes, certain things like chocolate has milk too, right? So if you have too much of it, so then you may break out if you're sensitive to it. So my rule is, my take on this is everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. So you can indulge, you can cheat a bit, but do it in moderation, portion control, choose the time of the day when you want to indulge a bit, and don't do it too often. Exercise, burn it and earn it. That's my rule.
Wow.
If you're going to indulge, burn it and earn it. No problem. Step up that exercise, go for an extra walk, give your body that little bit of kickstart in the metabolism so that you can earn that indulgence. And then
flush your toxins,
Flush your toxins, sweat it out. You'll be happy also, isn't it? You don't want to feel sad and deprived. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to have clear skin. And little extra exercise will never harm anybody.
True. That is overall going to benefit you in every possible way, in overall your systems, all the systems, whichever we are working on. Great. I think it was amazing. Like today I got to know a lot of things, and these were my concerns, and I'm going to put into practice, especially the ones we discuss about eating, ones we discuss about lifestyle. Yes. So apart from just blaming on my sensitive skin, I will take care of a few more things and use like I was already using face wash and all, which was very much helping me, the aloe vera gel in Moha and all that. But yes, all these small little bit of facts and tips what you gave, awesome. I think our viewers also get benefit a lot with this information.
I'm so happy to know that. And then of course there's good sleep. So 12 midnight to 4 a.m. sleep is the most repair, healing, restoring your body rhythm sleep. Don't miss that every night. Please try and go to sleep by 11:30, some nights at least, if you can't do it every night. But if you can, be in bed and asleep and catch that 12 to 4 sleep, your body, that's the time your body repairs and heals. And that's crucial to having, it's great for the skin, great for the hair, for the body rhythm. Body rhythm has to be maintained. So that's another important thing. And of course, for those who have PCOS, they definitely, they need to lose weight if they are overweight, and they need to make sure that their menstrual cycle is coming regularly, and that they should not give in to sugar cravings. If they have it, then they should cut back on it. So these are the ways, and then of course, if there's a genuine hormonal problem, then it has to be treated. So these are the lifestyle issues, that we need to keep in mind for acne.
Awesome. Definitely. All right. Anything else, doctor, you would like to tell us apart from this? Anything we missed out or something else?
Are there any questions about any about peels or lasers or anything about concealing acne? Do you want to talk a little bit about concealing acne?
Sure.
Nowadays
And also there's someone who said about bleaching to reduce scars. Yeah.
No. Bleach doesn't reduce scars.
Yeah.
Bleach just sort of gives that. I'm not a proponent for bleach at all. So I would say please don't bleach.
Okay.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help. In fact, it's too harsh. It's too harsh.
Too harsh for the skin. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that, one thing which is very important is maintenance. Remember one thing, if you had acne just for one reason or so, like it just happened like a one-time episode, that's okay. Treat the acne, treat it with the right products, and then go back to your routine. Maybe it was just related to that time. But if you're acne prone, or you're prone to getting acne again and again, or you had bad acne when you were younger, or suddenly you've got adult acne and it's taking time to go, then it's very important to have a maintenance routine. Maintenance is the key.
Okay.
And so you may need to have a skincare program for more than 6 months after the acne is cleared up. You may have to use some anti-acne topicals like retinoids for about 6 months for it to clear out. You will need to use your acne prone. That doesn't mean that you can't use anti-aging products with it. You can, but you can then have to have that maintenance plan for acne suited for your skin. And then if you're older, like 35, 38, you can add anti-aging later. You can't do it all together. You've got to treat the acne, have a maintenance plan, then add other things. So if it's a younger person who's had acne and they want to now move into getting glow and getting a fresh looking skin, then they treat the acne, wait for about 3 months, then you can start adding your vitamin C, your hyaluronic acid, and other products. So, you've got to build in the skincare. These are like building blocks. So skin health, skin care, acne care, clear skin comes when you build blocks. So some of us have troublesome skin, but you can build up those blocks and you can make sure that you can have acne-free skin and clear skin. That's one of the messages I want to leave with all of you.
Awesome. That's amazing. You were saying just before we leave and finish the session, you said something about the laser. I think you wanted to tell us something about it.
Yeah, there are a lot of nice, gentle lasers which can help to clear up your acne and prevent scars and also treat the scars. So I want everybody to know that lasers are not dangerous or harmful. Lasers are healing because they're light, but you need to have the right laser for the right type of skin, the right condition, in the right hands. Okay. Then it can be a great tool to clear up your acne faster if that is the need, or if your acne has been really stubborn. So do your homework, find out, do your research, and then go to the right place, the right center, the right dermatologist, and there's no problem at all. So we have superior ways of today preventing you from scarring and clearing up your acne, if that's the case.
Okay. So many questions as we're about to leave the session, and there are so many things. Let's just take 1 or 2 more questions before we end up, because I'm sure acne is a major issue for everyone. So I think we'll take this one. How do you feel? Ma'am, I have oily skin with mask in winter. It's getting flaky and acne prone. What to do? Okay. I think this person has joined later on, so doesn't know, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. So what she's really trying to say, what I've understood, is she's saying my skin is behaving contrarian, right? It's oily and yet in winter it's got dry and it's flaking.
Yeah.
And that means that either her face wash is drying her out. Maybe because she's oily skin, she's using a stronger face wash, and then she needs to change her face wash. Maybe
I'm sure stronger face wash because it's a guy. That's what I can see from the DP. Must be using some really strong.
Or rubbing too hard, or using
Yeah.
something, or maybe not using a moisturizer. So maybe one needs a moisturizer or very hot showers. So, if none of this is going on, then it just means relook your face wash, relook your moisturizer, and maybe there is an impact of, the skin can get, when it gets dry, it breaks. And when it breaks, it attracts bacteria. So my thing would be, first address the dryness issue with the right products, relook your face wash, relook your moisturizer, and then also treat the acne, which you can treat very simply with any one of the acne medications which have been. So in this winter, I would say clindamycin gel or azelaic acid gel would be very nice in this current weather. And this time, you're right. We are getting more. We have a drier and a cooler winter. Haven't you noticed that, Sejal?
Yeah, definitely. Makes it really dry.
Yeah, yeah. So I think there are very many reasons why in winter also you can get acne. Some people don't get acne in summer; they just get it in winter. Maybe because it's winter, this person is not washing their face that much. They forget to wash it at night because it's not so oily. So they feel, oh, I don't need to wash my face at night. Must cleanse twice a day. Must keep the scalp clean. Clean. That's another important thing. Never
Yeah.
let never. I don't. If those who are prone to acne or getting acne, don't keep oil overnight. Wash it off in an hour or two. Don't exercise with oil on. Don't sweat with oil on. People who cook, homemakers and other people, wash off your oil. Don't start cooking and let it drip down. If you have dandruff, treat the dandruff with a medicated shampoo, which either has cyclopyroxylamine, ketoconazole, any one of these, good agents with zinc, which you can use as a medicated shampoo to make sure that you don't have dandruff, which can also, carry bacteria, fungus, and make you break out. So these are important things to also follow. Some people get dandruff in winter and then they break out
That's
more along the
notice that.
hairline and forehead. So could be.
All right. I think the questions are going to come. Guys, we also have another session tomorrow to treat acne and such scar and similar issues in an Ayurvedic manner. I guess we will leave the questions for that tomorrow.
Yes.
And it was a great session today. I think a lot of information for us.
And I enjoyed
Thank
it
you so
thoroughly
much.
too. Thank you, Sejal. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for all the followers and viewers for joining in and making it so special. And so happy to share. We really shared some good information.
Looking forward to see you next week, Dr. Kohli. And
Me too. And I
yes,
hope everybody is now more confident about their skins and will not fear
yeah.
acne anymore.
Yes, we are, I think, done with the hair and skin in a dermat way, in a Ayurved way. Yes, we'll be dealing it with tomorrow, but otherwise, we've covered most of the topic in a proper way, when you should be seeing doctors and when you should be doing what with all this. All
Perfect.
right. And
Thank
guys, the questions for
you.
the giveaway, I'll just put it on the story after the live session is ended so that you can hear it properly and answer to this also properly. All right?
Till next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.